meeting.
I'll second it. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
First thing we have is the minutes from April 11th, 2024.
Joe made the motion.
You tell me, like, making that motion, man?
Yeah, I'm making a motion to approve the minutes
Second.
of 2024,
Thank you.
All in
April
favor?
11.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So there's no meeting mail, no appointments. All right. So the revenue update.
Revenue update. The spreadsheet that I handed out to you gentlemen, our forecast for April was 156,414. Obviously, we're aware we had a lot of precipitation through February and March. We had some projects taking place. There was a delayed start, but we still came in at 201,698. So add that to our total year-to-date, all the way over to the YTD. We're up 217,971. So it's not a bad place to be coming out of what we were looking at for the spring. Came out gangbusters. I think Steve can attest and Kev can attest. As soon as we opened the doors, the bodies were coming. And sometimes the days weren't even good. That Sunday was a lousy Sunday. And we didn't miss one tee time. They came all day long. So the guys are ready to play some golf again this year, which is good for us. And the comments for the project that we did on 8 and 9 that Steve accomplished came out fantastic. A lot of praise from our league guys, our regular customers, everybody that's seen it. They love the changes, so they look forward to, what are we going to do next? So it's good. It's good for us. It's good for the perception of the business to see that what we're doing, the revenues earned, it's going back to the product, and the customers are getting to enjoy it. So it's very good.
No, the weather doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look the greatest right now for the weekend, but we're pretty booked already for the weekend.
Yeah, we have an outing on Saturday. Sunday's weather, I guess it shifted, so Sunday is like half full, and it's Mother's Day, so typically that's more than what we usually have on Mother's Day. Usually Mother's Day would be 2 foursomes of, but for the most part, we're booked through the morning time, and then right around brunch time for Mom, it dies off, and then after that, we have just a couple of straggling tea times, guys breaking out of their family functions and going out, getting in and around. But yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Anyone have any questions on the year-to-date revenue? Good. Glad to see we're still way ahead of projections.
That's good.
All right, so now we have FY25 budget. I guess there were some recommended changes from the selectmen or so to revise some of the estimates for the numbers.
That's correct.
Yeah, when we had the meeting on the 8th, I believe it was, or the 7th, and they had some discussion and then gave some direction as to what they'd like to see changed, where and how. If you look at that one sheet I provided you, it's got all the, it's like this. It's got all the suggestions that they had made
Can you grab one of those?
for increases. Yeah, I got it here somewhere.
I know.
Oh, this is right there. So if you look, a clerical position was added at a cost of $22,932 for 35 weeks out of the year, 32 hours per week, which calculates out to a $20 per hour pay rate. And there is I believe, whether or not it's a union position, we don't know. I believe that clerical positions would fall under ASME. I think that's the term. So that might be a union position there. The salary for the treasurer collector increased by $130 from $8,160 to $8,290. Fringe benefits were increased or recommended to be increased to $42,500, which represents an increase of $11,250 to the budget. Medicare is an estimate based on 1.5% of total salaries. The estimate, given the total salaries, if you look on the other sheet that I had given you, is somewhat hard to read, but if you look in that first column, those are the total, if you look under salaries, you can see the total salaries. That number, 11,325, is 1.5% of 754,976. And it represents an increase of $1,825 over what we had already put into the budget, or recommended in the budget. We were also instructed to consider internet costs as part of our telephone expense line item, making a telephone/internet expense line item. I spoke with our former current but part-time AT rep there, Nick, and he went back through and costed it out, and it came out to about $1,650 for the year. So just split it between the two line items. I already had that in my telephone line item. I think the $2,500 that's in there already is going to cover that $825. And so that just increased the budget by $825 for the clubhouse telephone line items. We were instructed to take our FY24 energy costs and increase those by 30%. So the numbers you see of 28,600 represents an increase of 6,600, 30% of that 22,000 that was originally there. And for the maintenance energy, again, comes to 12,376, again, which represents a 30% increase over the FY 2024 budget. It cashes out to $2,856 over what we had already proposed in the budget. The one thing they did mention is that after discussion is we'd like to take the energy expense that is results from the pump station and put it into the maintenance energy line item. I didn't put a dollar value there because we need to get an estimate of what that is. That would just simply be reducing that 28,600 by a certain amount and increasing the 12,376 by that decreased amount to cover the expense of the pump house. I've got records. I'm going to say now that I believe that expense will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of $6,000 to $7,000 for electricity. And if you take a 20 to 30% of that, so you're probably looking between $8,000 and $9,000 to transfer. It's just I have to go back to FY 2023 because the way the fiscal years are, I couldn't get data for the month of May and June, and July, because of course they haven't happened yet in FY 2024. Insurance was recommended to increase from the $15,000 to $32,500, which represents $17,500 increase in our original budget. And then it was requested that the golf cart service contract become part of the golf cart leases line item. I received an email from Club Car or Car 2 or whatever they call themselves now. And that read that the cost on that on the statement was $7,350. So that would just be added to the golf cart lease line item. And then at the bottom of the page, there is a list of supervisory staff salary rate increases pending approval of the union, USW union contract at town meeting, which is the 17th of June. And after all that discussion on the 7th, the Board of Selectmen requested that they have our budget tomorrow or Friday.
So the sheet I gave you just says, my numbers are off on the fringe benefits and Medicare compared to Steve's. Everything else lines up. So if you plug in those two numbers from Steve's spreadsheet into what I submitted to you, everything else is in sync.
If I look at the bottom, one report says 2,036,000, the other one says 2,002,000. That's a $34,000 difference. Fringe benefits and Medicare were each off by like 2, so there's 4.
The rest of it's up in the salaries. I took the salary numbers from what Mr. Kelly
Yeah.
emailed us a couple weeks ago in request for a
This was-
in an information request.
I'll have to check the formulas. This was a submission to me, so I just punched in the numbers. I'll have to double check the formulas where they're reading from.
Yeah, it comes out to 2,036,247 compared to 1,900,000. I don't remember exactly what it was prior to the changes.
And as far as the clerical position, I went back and did an analysis of where my labor was and incorporated it into the clubhouse employees and basically just separated out and gave its own line item. They'll have to number it officially to what it's going to be. As far as it being a clerical position, my understanding, the way they were expressing, was it was going to be more of a pro shop person. So whether it's union or not union, I don't know if that has anything to do with the classification of it, clerical, pro shop staff, I don't know.
Actually, that's the difference at the top right there. It's the 22,932. It's just not included in the total. I thought we were essentially taking that out of what we already had.
Well, that's what I did.
For clubhouse employees.
That's what I did.
The impression I had been under the
Yeah,
past
if
couple
you look at
months.
I think the third page of what Ed handed out has the original number down at the bottom, although he did include salary rate changes. When we first did it, there was nothing in those, the department request, there wasn't, the salary positions for supervisory personnel hadn't been changed. This one reflects the changes, but
Yeah.
does not have the salary for the treasurer collector listed in it.
I didn't do a flat ad. I basically incorporated it into what was currently in the budget. And in the confusion of discussing the wages, the federal minimum, the state minimum, I did confirm with Chairman Gasper that he is comfortable with the decision that they made at that meeting that Stephen and I was at, and they said for our guys on the operations side, $1 above minimum on the base guys, which are the bag boys, and then $1 above them for the starters and rangers. So minimum is currently at 15, so that would put the bag boys at 16 and the starters at 17. And not saying that he's gonna stay that way consistently with wherever the Fed goes with their rates, but at this point in time, at this juncture, they were comfortable with that decision. And if things go awry later on and it gets out of hand, obviously we're gonna have to reel in where our wages are and manage the business the way that we see fit, so.
What do you pay starters now?
The bag boys get 15 and the starters are at, I think, 15.90. So
And the Board of Selectmen made a motion.
They
to
motioned
that.
and approved $1 above what we were at. $1 above the
The minimum.
minimum, and then the starters would get $1 more than the bag boys.
Correct.
The Board of Selectmen already, they approved this.
They didn't approve
They didn't
the
approve
budget,
that.
they
What-
just approved the wages at which the staff would be paid on my side of the operation.
Now you have to go back in front of the Board of Selectmen.
No, they,
Well, what they wanted was they wanted this to be, those changes that we just spoke of, they wanted that to be brought to the attention of the golf committee.
Yeah,
And now they wanted to see the revised budget, including their requested changes tomorrow, because, and discussing it with Mr. Kelly a few minutes ago, have to go to the FinCom's meeting next week, and we're supposed to go back in front of
Right,
them,
yeah.
so.
yeah, okay. So it should be all pretty well settled by the time you come back next week.
Yes, well,
Yes.
I mean, it's, you know, this committee's, you know, puts its 50 cents in, then it goes back to whoever, and then they have that meeting.
So whether we want to or not, we need to approve this FY '25 expense budget of $2,036,247. Correct?
If that total's correct. 3646.
You can go through it. This was off of an original spreadsheet that was sent out from Town Hall. The only changes that, besides the ones that they recommended, were the original spreadsheet they sent out on 31 January 2024, had FY 2024 salary listed for 4 supervisory positions. And of course, the items that, on the sheet that I gave you that are highlighted in yellow were the ones that were changed as of discussions on the 7th, or recommended to be changed.
So that's whether these actually pin out the costs that we'll have to see. I mean, the only thing, again, my question would be the very top one. I thought we were planning on doing that anyway within the amount that we had for clubhouse employees. But I mean, it's not that it's a huge dollar amount. If we just go with this, if anything, it gives us the flexibility to watch it throughout the year instead of being on the low end.
Made a big for you.
Thank you.
And you're talking about the clerk position?
Yes. I thought we were going to do it, but still include it within.
The 127.
now, there was some confusion with regards to that, because it's not anything that we officially had put a number on and stated to be in there, and,
We had talked about, at least, whether we call it clerical, pro shop, counter, whatever. We
Right.
had talked about adding an additional person to be there, right? So to
Right.
cover more hours.
well, yes,
Essentially to free you up from answering the phone and ringing people
Yeah,
in.
right.
So, it doesn't matter what we call it, we just wanted somebody to
Yes.
be there. So, I mean, if this is what's being requested of us, if this was going to be recommended and supported by the selectmen and the finance committee, I guess I would look for a revised FY '25 request of $2,036,247. $120,000 up from this year.
they also mentioned at some point, we should be considering the indirect, remember that's the indirect cost line item? And they would be looking to put something in there to start planning for the future with regards to pensions and any other possible indirect costs that may be incurred on, the development of
They mentioned indirect costs, and I had asked exactly what indirect costs were, and they had mentioned pension costs, and they had also mentioned OPEB, other personnel, whatever.
Post-employment, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is. So I'm not familiar with how those particular calculations are made. I'm assuming that those calculations are, especially when it comes to pensions, are only made on people who get a pension. I don't know if that's, and that to me is all full-time employees who are contributing to Bristol County retirement.
Correct, it would only pertain to exactly that, the people who are contributing to Bristol County retirement. You know, the town receives an assessment every year from the county as Acushnet as a whole.
As a whole, yeah.
As our portion of the county as a whole. So if there were to be something, you'd have to look and say, okay, what's Acushnet's percentage of the county in their assessment? Then what percentage of just the 4 people or so that pay into Bristol County retirement at the golf course as a total percentage of the entire assessment of the town of Acushnet.
Right.
And then back into some figure that way.
Okay.
I think there was some concern that it was an entire, excuse me, an entire number at some point, is what they had discussed. Like, I guess the way it calculates out, they're covered for maybe 6 or 7 years, and then after that, supposedly they're
Well,
responsible for.
that was one individual's thought on how
Right.
the pension
How
system
the
works.
calculation, I'm not sure the intricacies of it.
It was presented as an explanation for why they have higher indirect costs. Again, I'm not familiar with how this works, so I can't say that the money that I've put into a pension program over almost 20 years is gonna run out, in 5 or 6 years. I mean, if I walk out the door and get hit by a truck, it's, it basically goes to your spouses, but I don't know how exactly that works. I'm not so I couldn't comment on.
They didn't approve anything, they just brought it up
Yeah.
and explained that the way it works more or less. But there was nothing really definite.
No, but it definitely had a more, a higher sense of urgency tone to it that we should be planning on it, because
Well, they said they were gonna advise us.
they want to get ahead of it rather than wait to be behind.
That's,
You know what I mean?
that's what's happening.
Yes,
It-
correct.
It's falling behind, and they're trying to catch up until they balance it out.
So at least for now, we're not worried about that, not that we're not worried about it, but not
Right.
including the 25, so.
Correct.
Do we want to make a motion for the $2,036,247?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, so Bob, it's not Finance Committee's rep, Bob made the motion. We have a second by somebody?
Yeah,
John seconds it.
Is that the 2,036,247, right?
Yes, the $2,036,247.
Yes.
Do we have any other questions about that?
I don't have any.
So I think
It's all black and white here.
Right.
You don't have no deviation.
I mean, I think most of it makes sense. If anything, it might be a little bit high. It's one of the things that we can just watch throughout the year and
Yeah.
see how.
It's
like
about
we-
the
It's on the
normal
high
stuff.
side.
I think some of these estimates are
Yeah.
high, but I mean, better to be high than.
Let's
run
hope
out
that,
and run out
let's
of
hope
money.
that's in the high side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, do we need to go back and review the revenue projections?
Well, I think, other than the $100,000 reserve, then I think we need to make sure that we have a balanced revenue with, so we take 100,000 off that, 1,936,247. See what we can do within reason to revise the revenue projections to come to that, so that we have a balanced revenue and expense.
Otherwise, we won't be able to know monthly how we're doing compared
Right.
to.
And I don't want to speak for the town accountant's office, but I think, in theory, I think we should have a balanced plan going into it. So for data that,
So you want to take 100,000 off the 2,036,247 and put it in a plan?
correct.
Right.
To see how you think we can, what makes sense, well, what, the money,
Yeah.
as Especially
put
in
in
the
a-
high months, maybe
Yes.
just tweak those up a little bit so that it comes to that.
So next meeting, you will have that projection plan.
Mhm.
A lot of the price increase, if we kept the same,
Hopefully,
keep to like 87,000.
yes,
86,920.
Basically, there.
yeah.
Yep, so the price increases letting us keep pace with price increases.
And again, if I could speak to that for a second, the customers are thanking us for our pricing structure. On the passes, on the weekday play, weekends, they're like, I can't understand why these other golf courses are charging $15 more, and the conditions here are the best conditions that I've played on, and I've played at Atlantic, I've played here, I've played at this private country club, and for the price and the product that we're getting here, bar none, I will be here all season. So, and that's probably a testament to why the golf, the parking lot is full. Any day the sun is forecast to shine, and even on some days when they say it's gonna be, overcast.
I talked to the Lions Club last night, and they realized, well, I think it was $5 or something like that, compared to the other courses
Yeah.
around.
I've refused 3 outings this week. They wanna leave Allendale and come to us, and then they're looking at certain dates. I'm like, can't do it, we're booked.
Yeah.
Well, we need that date. I said, no, I can do July or August, and he's, no, we gotta be in September or June. I'm like, not happening. It's too late.
The pricing compared to the way our course is compared to the other courses around,
Yep,
you know, it's really a bargain.
absolutely.
So-
Yep. And the fact that these guys got that work done on 7 and 8, when, 8 is obviously the wettest hole, and to come out of that, live with asphalt, and running full tilt right out of the gates it's perfect. So the bodies are coming and they're loving it. Loving the price and loving the projects, 100%.
It is in great shape.
Yep,
There's
yes
a
it
lot
is.
to do with these two guys.
Absolutely.
And then you go on Facebook and you listen to all
I don't even bother with
the,
that.
you know,
Dive
people
into
just
the
like
drama.
they like to knock everything down, they don't realize
There's
what's
just
going
people
on.
who have nothing better to
Yeah.
do than
Yeah,
be
yeah.
miserable.
And we most likely
I'll
don't.
say that, Dan and his, just for the record, that Dan and his crew did an exceptional job down there with difficult circumstances almost on a daily basis. And I will want to reassure anybody who has any concern that every bill that was processed or spent for any type of material down there, whether it be a pebble, a piece of dirt, or asphalt, has been submitted to me and has been submitted for payment. So there is absolutely nothing that was spent down there that cost out of the general fund in the town. It all came
But that's
from-
not what they believe.
No,
Well,
never is.
I just want to
There's a
state it
few
for the
people
record
out there
because,
that,
because I'm the guy who's
Rumors-
processing
rumors
the
spread all over the place,
We
you know?
clarify that all the time, because it's out there, that's the first thing they tell you. You people are living off the taxpayer.
Yeah. I get
Well,
that
It's
it
not
helps
so,
to-
we
I
pay
get
for
that
everything
also,
we
okay.
got.
It just helps.
The same crowd you're talking about, I get that all the
That's
time.
me too.
It helps to reiterate
Especially
it,
at
you know.
captains, they come in,
Absolutely.
they're whacking.
Make it clear.
It's like the Goebbels effect. If you keep on telling them something over time, eventually they may come to believe you. It's the truth. I mean, if they'd like to come, if anyone would like to come see the book that I have on it with expenses and copied invoices and where they're paid to, they're more than welcome to come by. Come
Oh, it's
out,
back to
take
the
a
same
walk.
problem with the lady that came
Enjoy the
here a
property.
few years ago.
So point of sale update, I know you've been doing a lot of work, Dan, and getting the new version.
Yeah. So right, it's up and running. We've got the reporting functions that the accounting department needs up to speed. I spoke with the treasurer today. She came by, looked at it, and said we're right on point. She's balancing off April. I'm gonna get in touch with her next week to go through it with a fine-tooth comb if it needs any tweaking, where it needs to be and what we need to do. But we've got it running. We've got our price points in, our products are in, categories and subcategories are all where they used to be, designated. And so I pulled the sales report, I can put it into your report and process the numbers. I will say, they're not as clean and easy as it used to be in the other reporting. Hopefully, they can get better with their reporting moving forward. They did ask if I want to be on the beta team for their reporting. That essentially is asking me to work for them for free so that I can tell them how bad their reporting is and where it needs to be compared to the previous version. But if I have time, I will be more than willing to give them my input. I mean, I have given them my input, but not as far as my...
Should we be looking at another system?
If we go anywhere, my next one would say Chelsea, because that's what Old Barnstable Fairgrounds uses, and Dennis. And they're munis. They're similar rounds and revenues as us. It seems to, and they've been using it forever. So Allendale's on a second swap out of this. They used 4UP. They used another system last year. Juicy doesn't even do it. I mean, it's so complicated now. He has a business manager doing all the paperwork and all the reporting for them. They're still in search of the holy grail of POS systems. So in speaking with everybody, they all seem to have their pros and cons. They're either really good and efficient with the T-sheet, or they're really good in reporting, but none of them have the whole package. So before we jump to Chelsea, I just want to make sure that we can somehow get on the booking engine still with Golf Now, even though we're not using Golf Now, because that would be, if we can do that, I'm in, because you're going to have the same exposure, and we already have the reputation. Alphabetically, we're Acushnet, so we're at the top of the list. That would be a no-brainer.
Because that would be my concern, that if we could, because if you're not on the Golf Now app, and
You got to have exposure.
the courses down the Cape have a lot more
Yes.
consistent summertime vacation.
4 million
Right,
tourists.
they already know that they're there.
Mhm.
They're not relying on trying to find it or book it that way. So I
Absolutely.
wouldn't want us to lose that ability.
That was the main reason why we stayed with our current vendor and didn't go with Chelsea, was because we weren't sure if that would really work out for us, because we don't have that base of tourist population coming that strong.
Because what they do have, you've probably seen it, you have to find it, right? It's not an
Mhm.
app, you gotta go online, you gotta have your account, then you gotta create it and book your tea time. And I mean, it works for them.
Sure.
It works because they have a huge recurring base. It's not the best for us trying to attract the person on their phone and trying to book a tea time on the fly and grab them as a customer. So that would be my one hesitation. We should definitely look at it. We haven't thought to not use them on the point of sale side.
So I'll do some research in some off-peak times and talk to the director of golf over in Barnstable. I have a good rapport with him. And I'll specifically discuss reporting, if I can get some examples of daily reporting, monthly reporting, and see how I can compare it to our old reports and see how it pans out. And then I'll also see if they're on Golf Now, or how they get their website out to the masses, or their app to book on the T-sheet. And if there is an alternative way, maybe we use that. Oh,
Hi. Beautification, excuse me.
yeah.
We're having a beautification committee meeting here somewhere.
I think it's,
In the finance room, maybe?
I don't know where.
I'll show you.
Thank you.
Upstairs.
So we can move on to Green's Mower payment options while Dana's out.
I'm assuming that refers to the triplexes, the 3320 hybrids.
Correct.
Back in January, I presented the 5-year dollar buyout lease numbers. I've requested an update from PNC, who is the leasing agent that we use through Toro. Back in January 18th, the quote that he sent me, 60-month term, dollar buyout lease, $2,466 per month on the payment. If you wanted to make an annual payment, the annual single payment would be $28,600. I'm waiting to hear back from both PNC and Toro in regards to if there is any changes. I know finance rates may have changed somewhat. I don't think I'm hoping there isn't any changes in Toro's pricing, because the total package for the 2 units with, cutting units, tractor and so on, was $121,403.50.
So the question is, do we do the 5-year lease?
I think we originally discussed doing the 5-year lease on,
I don't think we approved it.
we didn't approve it, no. We discussed it.
If we do that, then we need to get on the Board of Selectmen's agenda to get that approved. It's in the budget for FY '24,
For the lease payments or?
for the first payment.
Yeah.
And it should be in the FY 2025 lease going forward.
I would say if we've already kind of accounted for it in that recurring line in the budget, then we should go with that option. And these are machines that, they have a useful life longer than 5 years, right, Steve?
Yes, if you take care of them, they'll have a useful life longer than that. It just depends on, once you get past, 6, 7 years, then you start getting into the things that cost you more money. These are hybrid mowers, so it wouldn't be quite as bad, but you still have some forms of hydraulics associated with those machines. You also have reels that start wearing down to the point where you can't grind them anymore, and you have to look to replace those, and so on. But they would have a useful life longer than 5 years.
It's a 3,400?
No, these are 3320 hybrids. They're
3,320?
They're gas and gas electric hybrids. The 3400s were diesels. Those were the 3-wheel drive units for T's, collars, approaches, and par 3 fairways.
I'll make that motion, we enter a 5-year lease for the 2 3320 mowers.
A motion from Ed, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
So Steve, you need to schedule a meeting with the Board of Selectmen.
I'll do that once I get a definitive from Toro as far as delivery time, but also a definitive on final price. And like I said, the financing may have changed somewhat, may be somewhat better, but it's still going to be a 5-year dollar buyout.
They're supposed to be delivered this month, right?
Well, I was told, when would I talk to Tom last? The very end of April, that they were on a truck going to Enfield for final assembly. So they come from Minneapolis to Enfield, Connecticut, where our local Toro distributor, Turf Products Corporation, is. Then they have to put them together. They have to put the cutting units on. They have to adjust the cutting units. The tractors don't come, I don't believe they come mobile, so, tires, all the rest of that stuff. They basically come in a big box and they assemble everything there. And then once those are put together, then they'll establish a delivery date, which I hope to be within the next 2 to 3 weeks, but I have not been given I have not been told when that's going to happen yet.
Kubota tractor tires. We got a few new tires.
Well, we have 2 Kubota tractors. One's a loader and one's has a loader and a backhoe on it. The other is the tractor we use for aerification and other practices, slice seeding and what have you. Each one of those 2 units has a rear tire on it that's in bad shape and continually needs to be blown up each morning before we're able to either move the unit or use the unit. So looking at those tires and the condition of them, I thought it would be best at this point to get 2 new tires to put on one tractor, get rid of the 2 leaky tires, and take the 2 remaining older tires and put them on the backhoe loader, which doesn't get used quite as much as the other machine. That way, we still have 2 functioning machines, and when the new budget year turns, we'll assess the life of the 2 older tires that we kept and make a decision of when to purchase new tires for that particular unit as well.
You put them on the old machine, you can put some of that spray stuff in it. It'll hold them for the rest of the year.
I don't know, we give it a shot, but
I'll wait outside.
I don't know.
No, I mean, on your, but you said you're gonna put the old tires on.
Yeah, well, each machine has one good rear tire that doesn't
That
lose
way-
air and is fine.
Till you
So
put
we're
the new
taking
one- new
those
ones
2
on,
and
then you
putting
can,
on one machine. and
Shoot a
buying
can of
2
that
new
stuff
ones.
in there, that'll last you a month or 2 anyway, because you guys use it all quite a bit.
Yeah, the one tractor.
Instead of having to fill it up all the time until you get the new tires.
Yeah, well, the new tires, we have to wait for them anyway because they're Carlisle turf tires. They're not normal tractor tires with the big cleats, because obviously that would do quite a bit of
They don't give
damage
them away
to
either.
grass, huh?
They don't give them away.
Oh, they don't give them away, is right. $985 a tire.
Bless you.
Thank you.
It's a blue.
How much a tire?
$985.
Jeez. $900?
$985. And that's off of list. List is $1,125.
Buy 2 cans of spray.
Do we have a line item for that 2,000, or do we need to take it out of?
Well, I mean,
Almost
it's
cheaper to buy it
gonna,
than
I can put it in the, repair and expense, but that's gonna push that, over budget.
I make a motion, we purchase the tires.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, National Golf Foundation report. I've gone back and forth with Richard Singer, because I was, in rereading some of the, again, no one has a 10-year crystal ball, but in rereading those projections, to me, some of those projected expenses seemed high. I mean, I know we were talking about just now increasing, benefits costs and potential direct or indirect, if you want to call it that, expenses. And to me, if I look at where we have been and project out a modest increase, it just looked like it was getting to be too high of an expense. Because even in this current year, for FY24, he was projecting a lot higher than where it looks like we're at. So he was going to be looking at some of those projections for me and see if he needed to do one last revision to the report before making it the final report. Because, again, we want to be as realistic as we think we can be, again, without our crystal ball, but I also don't want it to be so pessimistic that it looks like a bad idea, especially if the track record of where we've been to now doesn't lead us to where he's projecting us to be in the next 5, 7, 10 years. So I just want to make sure that we're on a fair path of projections based on where we've been and where we think we could go. And also just, again, asking him with the number of rounds where, yes, we may have done it one time in the COVID year when we were slammed every day, what he sees as how that would fit. And there are some courses that do. I mean, the 2 courses in tennis average 45,000, 46,000 rounds a year. So how are they doing it? Is it because it is so touristy and they don't have leagues and the way the count comes up? Is that what it is? So I just want him to clarify for me where that's coming from, instead of just saying, oh, well, if you make these investments, it will draw people. Yes, but what's it leading to that before we bank on that? I just wanted a little bit better explanation before that gets put in a final black and white.
Right.
And then
Has
he said,
everybody seen that report? Page 71?
No, yeah,
It shows the 10-year projection.
Yeah,
Emailed it.
It's not a good picture.
no, it's out there.
But it also shows, like I said,
Have you seen it, Dan?
I looked at it, yeah.
Steve?
I don't recall it off the top of my head.
They'll probably be putting housing up there for your illegals.
Page 71.
Page 71, huh?
But again, it all, even for what it's showing for this year, we're surpassing that on revenue and we're below that on projected expenses. So if you're starting with a base that's not even accurate to what's happening this year,
Right.
I just don't want that compounded
It's gonna compound.
in the long
Right,
run.
it's like
But
a
they
golf
did- They
swing.
did put that indirect cost in there, so.
Right, but between direct and indirect, you had over 300,000, which that's a very high figure. You know, we're talking about the insurance being around 40, you know, and then, yeah, like 32.5, fringe benefits 42.5, fringe insurance 32.5, that's $65,000. It's not 300,000. So, I mean, that alone is $235,000 difference.
Yeah.
And you compound that over 10 years, well, that does
It's a
make
lot
a
of
big
money.
difference.
Well, the thing too is understanding how he
Right.
drew his conclusions and see if that mathematical approach fits our picture. I reserve comment until we have a final revision.
So, like I said, over the past couple of weeks, I've gone back and forth with them a couple of times, waiting for one more potential revision, and then we'll call it final and have them come up here when we're comfortable. I just didn't want them to come up until any of us had maybe gone through one more time.
Because it's been a year, so.
Right.
That makes sense?
No. Right. The Haven resident rate, I was approached by, I know we brought this up once before, Selectman Wonar called me, said that he's been talking with the town of Fairhaven about potentially, you know, sharing, I don't know what's called resources, but sharing benefits for the taxpayers and residents of the two communities, that potentially Acushnet residents can get a beach pass or a shellfish pass or something like that in Fairhaven, and then Fairhaven golfers would pay the Acushnet rate, or would we have a Fairhaven rate, but just offer something up in exchange for that? One thing I don't know, like, I know we don't track exactly, but Dana, do you have a sense of like how many Fairhaven residents play at the course?
We used to, in the old system. In the new system, there's no history.
Because it'd be kind of cool to track, even if it was kind of some sort of separate way, even if we just ask our customers their zip code, they start banging them away right into a spreadsheet.
As far as the beach passes, there's a limited amount
Yeah, he's
of,
giving
a
100.
limited amount of beach passes.
Yeah.
So
So-
if you're gonna do that, you would
Right.
limit the amount
There's a
of.
limited amount of shellfish passes too.
Well,
Nothing's been settled yet.
right.
And I'm just putting, and exactly, in like golf,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
good
you buy
thought.
the pass, like say, right, it's limited, and you buy it once. I mean, you can come play golf 3 times a week and get a discount 3 times a week.
Right.
So, I mean, I think it's worth continuing to at least talk about, see what, could there be a mutual benefit for both towns to, you know, we have something that Fairhaven doesn't have, they have something that Acushnet can't offer the residents, and is there some balance in there to make sense?
I offered up a couple of solutions when he discussed it with me, and with the 100 passes that they have. I said, first, find out how much it's worth. What's, you know, I mean, what is the value of it? And then we can kind of create a program that has the same value. Maybe we make 100 3-plate punch cards, or 100 5-plate punch cards. Or if that doesn't work out, maybe they want to do a fundraiser and we give them a Fairhaven rate for an outing. Or, I mean, there are
Yeah.
many different ways you can go, but you gotta know the apples to apples comparison
I
before you
think that's
kind
kind of a good idea, because if it is 100 beach passes, like, so maybe there's 100 5-plate cards.
And we're not
or
gonna
10-plate
give
cards,
them to
whatever.
them,
No, that's,
we sell them
Right.
to
The same
them.
thing with
And then they
the-
sell
the-
the beach passes
Yeah.
to the Acushnet residents.
oh, exactly, right, they would come in, they'd show their license, or
Correct.
whatever, yep, I live in Fairhaven, okay, you
Yep.
can buy the 10-plate pass at this price, or
Correct.
whatever it is.
Yep,
And there's-
you get 100 of them, and then when the deal's done, you shut it down.
so
I think the beach pass is somewhere between 75 to
But it would be
$100.
inclusive of the beach pass. Can you just go there to swim and that's it? And
Fish?
spend- You can
No,
fish.
yeah, you can't cohog though.
No,
That's
no,
different.
you have to have a shellfish.
That's right.
Yeah, and the
They're
shellfish,
they're not giving their cohogs to you,
no,
no.
their shellfish is,
I like little necks.
non-residents, like $150.
Yeah,
Non-resident shellfish pass. A resident shellfish pass for Fairhaven, because my son has one, I think it's $35.
yeah.
The beach pass, like they said, they have 100, right? Is that what it
I
is?
think that's what they were saying, they were talking about offering up, so.
Oh, that indicates
Up
something.
to
They're
a
gonna
cushion.
give us 100, we'll give them, so many rounds to play.
So what are we being asked to do?
As of right now, we're just being asked to
consider
to talk about it, put it out there and consider it, and I think as we get more information from Dave working with the Haven to see what it is, I think, because we want to make sure it's equitable.
Correct.
I don't see anything wrong with offering something up to be a
No.
good northern neighbor to them. But you're right, if they're going to say 100 beach passes, and we have 100 pass books or something like that,
Mhm.
we don't want it to be so lopsided, and again, I doubt that there's 3,000 golfers in Fairhaven that's going to
No.
bankrupt us by doing that, but
Right.
again, we want to have some limits on what it potentially could be,
Mhm.
and just be in line with what they're offering to us.
Yeah,
and-
we can be good neighbors.
Yeah.
I think I'll open the bottom of my land there. We'll be in business.
Might come out for
Put a
less than
ferry
three.
dock, man, we run a ferry over there.
Yeah, it'd be a good business. If you can live with the PCBs, it'll be okay.
So the last thing is other discussion, and does anybody else have anything to bring up right now?
I think about that thing, we gotta find out exactly what is that it's worth, what those
Yeah.
passes is worth. And then we can come up with some kind of system that equalizes that, or they can give us a little more, and then we give them, because ours is more expensive. Around is $50, right?
Yeah.
And
I think it's-
then one person comes here, blows $50, that probably is worth 3 or 4 passes, right?
Right,
Because-
right, yeah,
So,
yeah.
we gotta,
Something
he's right,
that-
we gotta do apples and apples.
Yeah, it's gotta be put on paper
Yes.
and what we're gonna
Would
do.
that be the Board of Selectmen's deal to make this, the
You know,
deal with them?
when I talked to Dave, it would be the Board of Selectmen voting to offer that up to
That's
the
what
residents
I'm saying.
anyway.
It wouldn't
But
be
they
up to-
want us to recommend and use the golf course.
Well, yeah.
So,
Well, that-
that's
I-
fine.
I can recommend that, just whatever the Board of Selectmen has, they'd meet the.
But they want us to recommend.
Yeah.
So,
And I
but
think,
we
I think
wanted
Dana's
to
happy
know
with that.
Sure.
Have
what
it
the
that,
costs
so-
are, so.
I think as of tonight, there's nothing specific to recommend yet, other than knowing that
No.
we're on
Right.
board with certainly offering something.
Yes.
Whatever, yeah.
The other discussion I had was status reports. Back in 2015, we voted to have, David made the motion and John seconded to have both Dana and Steve report a status report on Mondays. That was back in 2015. It doesn't seem to be going very well. My recommendation is that we discontinue that.
They still do it, just sometimes I don't, just,
Right.
If you have agenda items that specifically you want on the meeting, bring it to my attention. Otherwise, I'll make a motion, we discontinue status reports.
I'll second it.
And I think, to discuss it, I think we're always going to have standing items, I would say, as the revenue update and then the overall
Yeah.
update of the cost. But you're right, if Dana or Steve, you need
Yeah.
something that would, needs to be voted on, because it does have to be able to be on the agenda in time to be posted,
yeah.
right, so. And granted, if you have it, it's always great to read it ahead of time anyway, this way we're not seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, this past, I mean, I know there's been a few missed in the past, I just missed this past Monday, to be quite frank with you, I forgot it. I forgot to do it, so I did it Tuesday.
So I think it's
I'm not
just,
gonna,
before
not
we-
gonna say
Yeah.
it.
I think before we
Yes.
vote on like not doing it, just realize that if it's something that requires a vote, it does need to be known by Monday, so it can be on the actual agenda. But then
Yeah.
beyond that,
Well, the agenda's, if it's a Thursday meeting, because the agenda is required 48 hours before the meeting, right?
it's Tuesday,
Yeah.
so have it by Monday to make sure we get it to the town clerk or whatever office it's doing.
Yeah, well, we'll endeavor to have that available, whether it's a formal status report or whether it's, as Ed just mentioned, recommendations. I mean, I've got a couple other items that I'd like to talk about as far as other discussion is concerned. Because the last meeting we discussed maintenance Mondays, and the golf schedule has come out, and there are conflicts with the dates that we had agreed. But before I touch on that, I wanted to mention, huh?
So, just to make this legal, so we had a motion in a second, we didn't actually vote, so
Oh.
can we just vote on Ed's motion and Bob second,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
I just wanted to make sure we did that.
So, like I said, the golf schedules come out, and there's some conflicts with some of the dates that have been listed, actually the ones that are listed in the minutes. So I revised my schedule, and I looked at, May 20th, which is, May 20th in the month of May. June 10th, there's only one day available in June. That's the 10th. And I would like to revisit July 1st. I understand it's the 4th of July week, but it's a Monday, and most people go on vacation 4th of July week and they go away. So I don't think the 1st of July would be too much of a hardship, but that's up to you folks. Then we have the 15th of July and the 29th of July. July seems to be less busy with outings. August 12th and 19th. And, well, the 19th is Greens aeration, so that doesn't really count anyway. And September 2nd and 30th, the 2 Mondays that remain open on the schedule in September. And then we'll look at October, which all the Mondays are open. And probably, I have the 7th and the 21st, although depending on how the weather is and whatnot, you may only need one during that particular
7th
month.
and what, 20?
21st.
July 1st.
So the number comes to 11, I believe, and originally there were 10, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, and you take out the 19th because it's aeration, so that doesn't count. So it's still the same number of dates, just spread out differently because the golf schedule changed.
So for example, in June, we had June 3rd and 17th, because then you can't use those.
June 3rd got a 9:30 a.m. golf outing with 36-person tee times. And the 17th is the Acushnet Police, which is a full shotgun at 8:30. So those previous dates are no good.
Police always do the day after Father's Day for
Right.
20 years, so that wasn't gonna go anywhere.
No, I understand that. And September 2nd, as we said, is Labor Day. That's why we.
You always get, I always
That's why we-
forget
that's why
that,
3 weeks ago we didn't.
I'm so used to not getting holidays and working on them anyway that they just don't register in my brain, so. Okay, so September 2nd is Labor Day, then we'll just
Scratch
get rid
it.
of that one.
I'm still going on board with July 1st, but, I mean, I'm just one voice here. I think there are certain number of people that go away, but there's a whole bunch of people that just take the week off and they're around and they want to do something.
What have we done in the past, July 1st? You have any clue, any idea?
I'd have to look.
All right.
Well, we put a circle around July 1st.
All right. So
If you don't,
Dan,
if you don't want July 1st, you don't want July 1st. I'm just putting it out there to give us some opportunity to do something. Because the next, we look at the schedule, and I'll look at the golf schedule, for instance. Coming up,
So do the 8th, the 15th, and the 29th.
the 8th, the 15th, and the 29th.
Yeah, leave the holiday and just take the next one. All the Mondays are open, pretty much.
Well, that would be 2 in a row. I thought it would be best not to have 2 in a row. On the 8th
Give up
and
the
the
holiday,
15th.
give up 2 in a row. I'm good.
So
Go with the 8th.
we'll look at the
Sounds
8th.
good to me.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
But in a topic, aside from that, I have a question for you folks. When we have Saturday afternoon shotguns at 1 o'clock, we do tee times off of 1:10 at 6 a.m. In order for me to get the course set up, I gotta be in there at 4 o'clock in the morning with a headlamp to change cups. Greens mower's not going to get around And the summer staff that I have to do bunkers and move T-blocks isn't permitted to start by the state of Massachusetts till 6 a.m. And in the month of May, we have the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th as shotguns on Saturdays. The 26th is the shotgun on Saturday. June, the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th, every Saturday in the month of June is the shotgun with 1 in 10 starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. And the 23rd and the 30th, right before that 4th of July is another, well, that's tea time, so that's not,
Yeah.
that doesn't count. But I don't know, with the current staff we have, you know, and even in the staff in the past, and Kevin can attest to this, I don't know how we're going to get anything done. With, you know, if it's 1 tee, it's not a problem, but it takes 4 hours to mow greens. And starting the greens mower at 4 o'clock, not being able to see, if he goes off the back of a green and injures himself, I mean, you can hardly see the cleanup cut, even with headlights on the machine and the headlamp. So to me, it's going to be very difficult to meet 1 in 10 tee times at 6 o'clock in the morning for the entire month. We did it the other past weekend. Actually, that weekend, the one weekend where we had an outing, we had a frost, so we didn't have to worry about it because we did a shotgun. But then again, because of that, and because we had all those tee times, I couldn't do anything. I sent my guys home, and I talked to Isaac, and Isaac said the best idea was to do a shotgun. So he organized where people would go, and we did it as soon as the frost lifted.
Is that your suggestion for those dates?
Well, I'm not suggesting shotgun, because shotgun doesn't, you'd have to do a shotgun at 6 o'clock in the morning,
So
because you have all those tee times. What I'm saying to you is, I don't know, you're putting, I mean, you're just jam-packed it full. I don't know anybody else, Kevin can, chime in here if you'd like. I don't know anybody else who does 110 tee times at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's impossible unless you start at 4 o'clock. And you have 2 crews going off 1 tee, and off the first tee and the 10th tee to finish in front of everybody else.
How many
Bunkers,
peop-
forget it.
On those days like that, how many people are at 6? Huh? It's full?
6 to 8.
Well, to
Both
give you an
sides.
example, I mean, so say Ed, Manny, Dave, and John like to have a tee time at 10 o'clock on Saturdays, and that's the only time they can play golf. Well, guess what? You 4 can't play golf for the month of May and the month of June.
Yeah, we created this. We pissed and moaned about getting
Outings. You
more
want
outings.
Outing, that's the thing.
That was
So-
the big thing.
And,
We
and
need more
David did
outings.
his job and got the outings,
Well,
so.
now we have outings.
But when we
And
have,
I'm turning them away.
we have
I mean,
5 or
we don't
6,
just
but I
have
mean,
them.
you look
I'm
at all the
sending
little
them
yellow
elsewhere.
marks. All those little yellow marks are outings. Yeah, good luck for the ladies on Thursday.
Sounds like that guy needs a raise. I don't know who's in charge of that, but he's doing a hell of a job.
Well, the question is, do you want to be an outing golf course? You have 5 or 6 or 7 outings that are your standard outings, that have been here, that have been loyal, and so on. But do you want to be an outing golf course? Do you want to have every Saturday in the month of May and June filled up?
No.
So
That's the thing that's happened to everyone's. I mean, even the country club in New Bedford, it's got a lot of outings this year that we normally don't have.
when do they happen?
Mondays
Mondays.
and whatever's. other times of the week.
I'm pretty sure they're not telling the membership at the country club that they can't play Saturday afternoon because they have an outing
Well,
every
But they
Saturday.
tell you can't play Monday.
Well, Monday's a
All
given.
day.
Yeah, that's a given in the industry. Most private clubs are closed on Mondays.
Montop's semi-private, they do Mondays only. You can't get on that course from April until November on a Monday.
Yeah.
That's their outing day, okay? I don't know, what do you do?
Well, I mean, I'm
Whatever you
putting
guys
the
wanna
question
do.
out there because I have, it's like I said, it's crazy to try to keep on doing it. And, you know, I gotta leave my house at 3 o'clock in the morning to get here to do it.
Dana and I were talking about the financial ramifications. It's not a big deal.
You know, outings, you generally make more because it's a cash grab on the food and beverage. You're getting your golf rounds, whether you're playing regular golf or you got your outings. Like you said, we created this beast. You wanted outings, you got them. And now they rinse and repeat. So now, by sending them elsewhere, that's a lot of money and a lot of people that are not going to be happy with you. So understand that. So you can say no. That's fine.
Now, do
but there
you
are
put teas
ramifications.
in greens every day?
7 days a week. At this
Does
time,
everybody in the industry does that?
far as I know, some guys double cut them. I'd like, you
See,
know, if I had my druthers, I'd double cut twice a week, cut
I
and
go
roll
play,
three.
even down the south here. I go play 2 days in a row and them flaggers in the same place as the day before.
Well, we change cuts
No,
5 days a week.
Yeah, they change. If we do over 80 guys, they're out there and they move
Yeah, if
balls.
they move, if we have more than 80 people play, the decision, you know, the decision's made to change the cups based on the condition of the cup. And one of the worst things that's happened now is that the USGA came up with their bloody rule about leaving the pin in. Everybody sticks their hand in the cup to pull the ball out.
They just
And
want the whole bigger.
So the whole top of the cup is worn out from where they keep on sticking their hand in.
So you get a
You
rim.
gotta
You
spin
get a
it.
brown ring.
Oh, yeah, you sure do.
Oh, yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
6:30 tea time now?
Steve and I had this discussion, and I told him, you realize that you got to go 6 to 8 because that's the only way. You're filling the course once, you're emptying it, and you have a little bit of time to spin the carts around and get them ready to get the shotgun off. That's the only time frame it happens. You can't go earlier because he can't cut earlier, right? I mean, and you can't go later because then it's not a 1 o'clock shotgun. And at certain times of the season, September specifically,
Yeah.
you're losing
You run out
daylight.
of time.
You're chasing the sun. So it's get them in and get them out.
Yeah, but your morning tea times are 6 to 8,
Correct.
first and 10.
Yes.
Can we do 6:30 to 8?
If you want to lose the revenue, you're losing both sides
Yeah, I understand.
for a half hour. But
Well,
So we fought to get in
and I
this
understand
position.
that point, but do you understand the fact that what it puts us through and our crew through to be able to do that every Saturday in May and every Saturday in June? Nobody seems to think about that.
No, I do.
Nobody seems to care about it.
I
You know,
what that is, yeah.
you know, you've done it now for a little
I did it
bit.
today, yes.
You know, I look at my guys, and right now, I mean, I've got new guys. I'm going to put in 2 weeks, I'm going to put a new guy on cutting greens on Saturday. He's not going to be in like Norm at 4 o'clock in the morning. But Norm, he's the mechanic. He can't, he's not supposed to be doing that. I got somebody to do it, but I mean, he'll be lucky if he gets 10 greens cut.
So what's the solution?
So the solution is either, if you keep your outings like that, the solution is that I come in and make sure you have the correct number of pins, and then I tell my guys to go home. Because what am I going to do with them? They get caught out there, and then they're getting fired at, and they get people get mad because there's people out there working when they're trying to play.
Yeah, but then our quality drops off also.
Yeah.
He starts rushing through it, and either he's going to get hurt or the course is going to get hurt, and it's not worth it. I agree. I mean, if it's going to continue like this, they don't work.
I think we're stuck with it this year, but after that, I don't know, cut down the outings?
Well, look at your outing, look at your outing potential. I mean, I don't know, do an analysis. I mean, what happens to, you talk about losing revenue here, but what happens to the people who always like to play Saturday who can't play for a month, 2 months?
Right.
They go somewhere else too, So does it behoove you to cater to your returning clientele more so than your outings? Yeah, you have to have some outings. And like I said, I mean, you've got the Bedford firefighters, the Acushnet police, Team NOAA,
St. Michael's,
St. Michael's.
Acushnet Lions.
Yeah, you got 7 or 8 of them that are that are your standards. And then, I mean, I'm going to go and get this, this month the weekends done. But to be quite honest with you, I just can't do it anymore. I'm 64. I'm not gonna be out there at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, tell, 2 weeks ago, I was walking up the damn slope to the 6th green, fell and twisted my damn knee. Because I just don't have the balance I used to. And there ain't nobody else to do it. I mean, you know, everybody looks at, I mean, we'll hire more people. We advertised on Facebook, we advertised on the big signs in town, we went through, not LinkedIn, what's the other one? Indeed.
Indeed, yeah.
I posted signs out front, and what we ended up with was a few people who were interested in part-time and a lot of kids who were interested to work. And we got 6 good kids, but, you know, they can't start work till 6 o'clock in the morning, and they know absolutely nothing about the business, so they're gonna have to be trained. I can't throw them out there on a Saturday morning and say, hey, go move T-blocks at 6 o'clock in the morning, and don't let them guys catch you either.
I've been talking to the people that we probably should try to go to the new people that are coming into the United States, that they give them a pass, and they're looking for work, is now, can they work on a
Well, that's the question, can they be municipal employees?
municipal? Exactly.
I don't know.
I'm working on that, and so
They
is,
ain't getting past that policy. 3 forms of ID, 18 pages of forms and applications.
Yeah, paperwork.
Are you kidding me? It takes 7 weeks to get through that.
well, they giving them passes now quickly, not 2 years anymore waiting. And I'm waiting for a call from the town administrator to find out if we can do that or not. And if we can,
So
that's one way
what
to
you're
get a labor
explaining to me
market
is
in here.
you want me to start hiring people who come here under suspect circumstances and are given a pass to go ahead and work over somebody else.
They like to work, I mean, they know.
Yeah, it's great that they like to work. I mean, everybody likes to work to some degree.
As long as you can commute with them, if you can speak their language. They can't speak
I mean,
English, you're gonna have a heck of a time.
it's the people
trying to
now
train
that's
them.
gonna do some
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
The American people don't wanna do work.
I don't buy
Oh,
that.
they all wanna be,
The American people don't, you know, when I first started here, Manny, I hired, the first person I hired was a regular American guy, and he stuck with me for almost as long until he just, you know, he retired. The other 4 guys were all Spanish-speaking fellas who, you know, 3 of them didn't work out. One of them, Victor, was great. He worked out fabulous. But you know how Victor worked out? Because his family was back home. He lived in an apartment in New Bedford with 8 other people, and he slept on the floor, and he took all his money and he sent it home.
sure.
He was a great worker. But you know, people say Americans don't want to work. Well, Americans can't afford to do that. I mean, you know, you can't, I mean, you look at the cost of things now, and they can't afford to be working for $17, $18, $19, $20 an hour. That's why we have part-time employees.
Tell me something, who made American great? Was the immigrants.
Everybody who was here,
Can't go
man.
against them, they made.
Everybody, you know, unless you're American
United
Indian,
States is
everybody's
an
an immigrant.
American,
Yeah, they
it's
came here to work.
the work.
I know
And
my
that's
grandfather
what they do.
sponsors a lot of them. But
they
a
came-
lot of them that are coming in today.
Well, some of them are, they.
But the question is, irregardless of who and what they are, is it legal for them to work for?
Right, so you're gonna work on that.
Huh?
You're gonna work with the town
I've been trying to work with him, I've talked to him several times on that, and see if that is possible, because that's, I mean.
I'm not against it, I'm just saying, now what are you gonna pay him? You gonna pay him,
And then you get people to work
we gotta-
for you.
I got one question before you move.
That's why
How many new outings do we have, like this year, that just came on board?
Just came on board this year.
Yeah.
We did that Dartmouth girls one on April 27th. That was a brand new one.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is probably a good one because April, it's not
There's
much
nobody.
going on.
There's-
Okay.
Usually it's Old Colony is the kickoff of the outing season. They came in April 27th and did their event. This Amigos de Tessera, May 25th. That looks unfamiliar to me. So that looks like a new one.
John Phillips, I think is a new.
No, they've
Or is that a
been here
different
for
name?
3 or 4 years already. Mission 22's been here for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, see, this is,
Jake Fabian's been a solid, that's
On Monday,
a local
Saturday, it's the
event.
working day.
So
Saturday.
the,
Saturday,
let me ask you, I mean, is
day of the week.
it, so what's your normal shotgun length? 5 hours?
5.5.
yeah,
5.5.
right.
So,
And they used to be 6, but we held the line on 144.
It's about 5.5.
And
about
5.5 is-
5.5. 9, 10, 11, 12, you know, so if you started your shotgun at 8 o'clock
Right,
in the morning,
yeah.
then you could have tea times after, right?
two.
Same time frame, because you go 5 hours, that's 1 o'clock,
So
right?
you're getting rid of the 6 o'clock tea times and you're taking that tournament and you're pushing it back to 8 in the morning instead of 1 in the afternoon.
And then you're killing all your morning tea time guys.
So you either kill your morning tea time guys or you kill your afternoon tea time guys.
Kill your afternoon tea time guys, because your morning are your that's your livelihood. Your weekend warriors, they worked hard all week, they want to play golf, and you get them in. And those are the guys you get in.
I think,
Get 'em in and get 'em out.
I think for the future.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's
2 hours?
easy, it's easy to say get them in and get them out, but, you know, you got 3.3 acres of greens to cut. What are you going,
Listen,
how
I
are you going to do
understand
it?
that, And I mean, it's not my decision to make this, but it is the practice that we've been doing for 22 years. And I understand the circumstances are different now, and the labor challenge is there.
Much different.
Well, the circumstances are different, but, you know, we did it in the past because, to be quite honest with you, I was crazy enough to do it.
That's how we survived.
Yeah.
If we didn't do it, then we wouldn't
The
survive.
revenue.
It's time to retire.
I mean, the other guy, no, you know, the other guys told me, he said, hey, you know, what do you think you're doing? You know, these are superintendents from private, public golf courses. I said, what, are you crazy?
What's the big deal of 2 hour difference?
I'll tell you what, my view would be, you know, let it go this year, and we examine what it would do to, let me finish before.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say, I'll get it done, John. I'm not
worried about this year,
gonna
Steve. I'm just
sit here
worried
and say
about
no
in the
and pack
future.
my bags and go home.
So we don't lose these, is, you know, try to do it on a Monday, but you do a Monday afternoon.
I'll ask them, yeah. I'll every outing that comes through.
Just try to
we
put
say,
it out there, do Monday
think about doing
afternoon.
Monday outings
It gives
next
them
year.
Monday maintenance, whatever you can do.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, you know, I would give some of those days that we just gotta realize if you're going to put
Well, you
this
have to,
much,
'cause
this
you
much
took-
pressure on your golf course, that it's gonna break somewhere. And, you know, you keep on pounding it and pounding it and pounding it, you know, something's gonna give. And like I said, I'm not gonna sit here, you know, because it's my reputation that's out there, that ball's rolling on and everything else. And I'd be damned if I'm gonna sit here and let people play on a course that's not prepared.
No, they love your work. You do great work.
So,
And I
Hands down.
can, you know, and just because, you know, I'm getting old doesn't mean I can't do it. I'm just concerned about my staff.
so Dana, real quick, what do we do, 9-minute tea times roughly?
Mhm.
Somebody just round up the math, let's call it 10, so that's 6 an hour.
Well, the only thing
Wait,
that
I'm
you
just trying to
don't-
work through this, right, for a minute, Manny, if you don't mind. So, the six groups an hour, front and back, that's 12. So I mean, right, it's a 12 group. What if we, like, it's too late for May, what about for the month of June? I know we're cutting off a little bit of revenue, but it's 7, 7 to 8 is what they have on Saturdays, that have those outings. That way it gives an extra hour to get this stuff done. We're cutting out 12 groups. If it was packed every tea time with a foursome, it's like $2,500. Is that worth the potential damage and wear and tear on people and course over $2,500 when we've got a packed outing that afternoon? Right, because we haven't given out tea times in June yet, correct?
Tea times, no.
Right, so.
Seven
somebody
days out,
wants-
they book.
Right, so somebody wants to call and say, hey, I want to play Saturday morning. Hey, we got an outing, you can only play between 6 and 8. When now it's a bit closer to June, you can only play between 7 and 8. And once those 1 and 10 gone, is that a compromise for this year?
Well, as it gets more daylight, I mean.
You're going off 1 and 10, you said? And
Well,
you're
that's
saying
what you're
6.
doing now, right?
Yes.
Right, so between-
At $75 a round, and you're saying 6, so 12 tea times you're missing out on? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
So does the outing pay $75?
The outings pay 70, but it's later in the day, and you're only gonna get twilight.
Oh, so Twilight,
you
so
make
price
money.
changed, yeah.
I mean, you do make a little bit more with outings.
Right, so it's 3,600, because it's 3/4 of 48.
I mean, can we make it up during the week? Because it's easier for us, you know, if you're, you know, if you're starting earlier on a, you know, like, a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if you're starting off 1T, at 7 o'clock in the morning instead of 8, can you make them up there? I'm just saying that it's difficult to get this done, and I don't have the staff that I had in the past who are capable of doing it. The new people will eventually probably be able to do it, but to throw a guy out there who's been on a triplex for 2.5 weeks and tell him, you know, you gotta stay up front of all those people.
Is there a way to modify the preparation program? We're talking about modifying the T-sheet. Is there a way to modify the prep of the day on those days that we have outings? Do you, you know, I don't know what you do to prep, but is there a way to minimize what it is you're doing to set up for the day? and
No, well,
still
you have to
accomplish-
change 18 cups and you have to cut 18 greens and you should rake 18 holes worth of bunkers. And you have to move the tee box. So those are the extent of the things we normally do on the weekend, simply because normally, for normal play, you don't have enough time to do anything else. Unless you have, I mean, you know, some people do a full cut on the weekends, but then they start their tee times on the weekends at 8 o'clock, you know, and they've got 15 guys to come in on a Saturday to be able to accomplish that. You know, but we change cups, we move the tee blocks, empty the trash, change the water coolers, blow the divots and debris off the tees, and we rake the bunkers. Right now, we're incapable of raking the bunkers because we don't have enough people until June 17th, when everybody's at school. Then we'll be able to do that on the weekends as
That
well.
I'm feeling.
You know, so I'm just putting it out there as something to
Revisit this
consider
because-
about your outings, because it's difficult to do, and we just don't have as many people in the past now as we had in the past who were capable of doing that. We need, you know, you need more, you know, people to work on weekends. I mean, some of the guys now that we have that work during the weeks used to work on weekends, but you know, they've gotten to the point in their lives where you know, it's not of interest to them anymore.
At 78 years old.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, I know. I got 3 guys.
Dana, what about adding more people out there to control the thing, then you can bring the round to 4 or 4.25 hours?
For an outing? Never
Yeah,
happened.
that
Never happens.
Well, the other problem with the outings that people don't realize is, you know,
It's an outing. It's not
It's
like
not
a
a-
recreational
you don't
round
get-
of
you don't
golf. These guys are there to hang
experience
out for
golfers.
the
No, you
day.
gotta stop
It's
them,
not a-
go get balls, that's all. They
it's not
don't
a,
go pick the balls out there.
it's not a tournament, it's an outing.
Right, correct.
Depending
It's not
on the
about
outing,
golf. It's
depending
about
on the
hang.
outing, not all, but depending on the outing, 3/4 of the people there are drunk after they get past
Yeah.
the second or
And
third
it's a
hole.
charity event. So, I mean, we've raised millions of dollars for tons of these charities locally and done a great service for the community.
Quality of golfer in an outing is not the.
No, if one foursome has a ring on,
bad
they consider
mouth,
themselves
they're
lucky
not
and
the best.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
contention to win.
Oh,
the
I mean,
people out there
you
for
probably
the
don't
outing,
have to
but, you know.
cut the tees for them in the morning.
Well,
so they're gonna-
yeah, maybe, I don't know.
I mean, that's-
Don't
I mean,
cut
the
the
tees
greens,
are-
don't cut the tees.
Yeah, that's
That's
maybe,
what I'm thinking.
Well, you see,
Yeah.
no, then you shortchange people playing if you don't cut.
and most of them people don't know how to play golf anyway. And they don't have any etiquette about golf. You can see them out there, they ride on the goddamn tees with the carts, they do all kinds of
Or right
crazy
through the
things.
woods,
I
you know,
mean, every
you
outing
get-
that I see, you always have a few, I call them monkeys, but I should have called them something else, that just do what the heck
Oh,
they
yeah.
wanna do. They don't go any rules about that.
Nope.
So why do we have to give them all the things that makes a great experience to play around? That's in the time that during the week and weekends, but not in and out.
The conditions are what
And now
brings
you
them
have
back
to push 'em.
brings them back every year, though.
Those are for the golfers in the morning.
Condition, yes, but there's one thing, they raise money for their organization, and they're gonna do it no one way or the other, because there's not enough golf courses to do all the outings that they wanna do.
Well, that's why some places are raising the price or they're turning the outings
Yes.
away.
Well, and that was actually, we did go up on our price, but that was a point that I was gonna make at some point with you guys, is that with the demand that's there now, we could push that, and, I mean, that's why we're getting some inquiries from Allendale, is they're really pushing their outing rates, I guess, because we're seeing more and more guys calling.
So is everybody, but I don't think for some of those things, money means anything. How much they pay, because the country club they're not cheap.
No,
And they got quite a bit of outings.
yeah.
The wife and I were looking at the schedule the other day, and
Postings
there's
for
not many Mondays that you can
$500,
buy.
$600 a force.
And they're not bashful, they say, "Club, the course closed for the day."
Yeah. So, I mean, if I had another guy who, I could throw in a triplex on the weekends, I could get it done.
Oh, we gotta find that guy somehow or other.
Oh, I got him, it's just that, he's gotta be trained.
Have them teach them on the afternoons, have them go cut the grass somewhere else.
Do
And
my yard.
have them get a custom.
Man, it's not that easy.
You send them my way, I got a place.
Yeah.
Now, your grass gets cut a little bit higher
So we're not gonna make
than ours.
any motions to change anything
No.
other than
Revisit
we need
this.
to move on.
And,
I
don't
mean,
forget-
let's watch what happens tonight, but I think a couple more ranges would probably help and minimize some of the things that happen out there tonight.
From 7 to 8.
Quite possibly.
And then if we had that, and I think we could add that to the budget,
Well,
and
it's either you
that we
Let it go.
should control the
You
play.
can get through this month, May.
I can get, I'll get through May and June.
All right. So July, we go the other route, 7, 8. How many outings are in July?
Not many.
Not until July, nobody likes.
July and August are empty, pretty much. It's June and September, those
Yeah,
months are jam-packed.
So you're good with May and June, Steve, and then
You're riding it through to September, there's hardly anybody on the outings for June, July and August.
Yeah, nobody in July and
September,
August.
September, you have plenty of
September
time
is
to, you have plenty of time to tell them that it's gonna have
and
to start a
September
little
gets
later.
packed.
An hour-
September is
hour
booked
later.
solid.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, and unfortunately, September is when everybody goes, all your
and then you have
summer
less
help
help.
goes, and then you have less help.
Right.
Well, that's something
That's why, again, I think the resolution to this is more full-time people. Unfortunately, your pay scale
Goes up.
doesn't address the getting more full-time people,
And
period.
that is also what's in the report. We are on an imbalance with full-time versus part-time. We have a,
The only way you can cure it is you're gonna go up in your rates to take
pay
care
for
of
it. That's
the
absolutely
wage
correct.
up more to attract the people. I mean, that's the only way you can do it. You can't cut anything else. And based on what I hear, that we're low than most people around here. So I think
There's some
one
wiggle
way to look is to increase the things, maybe increase the outings, and the ones that they don't want, that they maybe go away.
Yeah, well, like you said, I don't think when outings, it's not about what they're paying to play golf. It's, whatever they make, it's all for charity, so, or whatever their cause may be. They just make a little less, and we keep the conditions and the people that wanna pay that kind of money, whatever we end up doing, there, period.
Yeah, I kind of understand.
You lose
Hey,
an
my
outing,
business is
you lose an
weekends.
outing, you
I
gain a
work every
public
Sunday
walk-on,
and every Saturday.
Absolutely.
you know, so I don't think, but
And if we have to go in at 5 o'clock in the morning, we're going at 5 o'clock.
So we're not changing anything, or proposing to change anything? That's
I
fine.
forget your
I think we should
bid documents and specifications, you got
think about it and leave any big decisions about that. Is based on what you just said a little while ago. Let's really look at this year, what are we doing and how it's working, and then let's make decisions for next year.
Yeah.
Today is too late.
Yeah, I can't change
Everything is
anything now.
committed,
I'm
so we can't do
just
anything
wanted to
to
bring
it.
up the topic so
No,
people are
so,
aware.
yeah, we're gonna have to revisit this for the next season or something, you know?
Ah, we have to
Well, I mean, like I
about it,
said,
and we have to keep
you've
up.
got the people who've always supported you in these particular outings.
Before.
And you want to keep that, you know, and
When
plus
they show
you're
up,
locals. I
they're
mean, you're
they vote for
you're
the
Acushnet
next year.
River Valley,
That's
so
how
you
they
should have the
do it.
Acushnet Lions, you should have the
So that's a
Acushnet
good
Police,
point.
you should have the Acushnet Fire.
Yeah.
Those are no-brainers. Of course, the fire and
We
police
do
are
have
during
to
the week.
address this relatively soon with some kind of concept of what we're gonna do, because Kevin and I was just stating, they rebooked on the day of their event this year for next year, so if we're gonna change the timeframes of things, that should be announced,
Well-
but as far as the rate, we don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
So
We
just
wait
tell
for it to happen.
them, we might have a time change. I mean, just, you know.
But
don't-
what
See how
another
they
thing
work
we
out.
may, what about if we do two during Mondays and Tuesdays and get them out of Saturdays?
I'm not sure that you'll see the volume of hours should you move it to a weekday. I think that's why.
Mondays is, usually every
I
Monday was
understand that with country clubs,
1 o'clock, we will play up.
Yeah, see, Manny,
you can't do 1 o'clock on
on
Mondays. That's our
Mondays,
league.
on Mondays,
You're gonna do it in the morning.
in the
if you're gonna do
summertime
it.
is fine, because most people are out of work or will take time off or are on vacation. In May,
Yeah. Yeah, with the,
In
with
June?
with the event, get the number of people to take that day off then.
yeah, right. Well, so the three important months are May, June, and September. And someone's called me about an outing.
All right.
Says Howdy Home is late. I don't know, that's enough of those things. What do you think?
About outreach. I've had enough. I think we need to caution them about not rebooking. Get their name. Tell them.
Don't rebook. I want that motioned
Or-
and approved, definitely.
Or can they start an hour later?
We discussed if you want to start them at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Is that what you're saying?
Which pushes the morning up an
Or
hour.
then gives you more,
Well, that
right?
was, moved up to 8 o'clock
You
start.
can try.
So instead of 6 to 8, you've
Now,
got
we'll
seven.
review
From
you
six
in
to
the
eight.
morning.
From 6 to 8?
2 o'clock with 5 hours, 7 o'clock. It'd be a
June-
stretch in
June's gonna
September.
list- September might be, I'm saying, but June has plenty,
June,
has a
you
lot.
could probably
going
get
on.
away with it.
May.
May,
Yeah, it
you
doesn't
get away
get
with
back
it.
till 8. September, early September. you're
Early
all right.
September, late September, you're,
Right, late September, no,
they'd be
but-
toast.
Well,
But
anything
just the
after,
thought of like trying to wait, even just to ease up some of them, maybe we
Mhm.
try to push them back to 2 instead of 1, and then you have 7 to 9 instead of 6 to 8.
Sure, I mean, I can, let me reach out to the June guys and see if I can switch it to 2 o'clock. I don't have problems doing that. Listen, I'm not fighting this process. It's a tricky, we just
Oh, right.
discussed all the parameters of it. There's a
Balance
lot of
everything
parts
in
to
the
it.
day, yeah. All right, so
Let me call the June outings and see what they say to start it too. You realize they post this stuff?
yeah, that's.
It's all printed.
See,
Yeah,
I
they got
don't
all
think
that
you're gonna
stuff.
get
Yeah,
away
I
with
think
it
they'll
this
get
year.
changed now.
Probably
I think
not.
it could be a
You
recommendation.
won't get away with
Next
it.
year.
But I can,
This
yeah,
year.
I can do that. Let them know next year we start at 2 o'clock
That's fine.
in May and June.
That, in September, you go until such a date, and after that date, you'll have to make an adjustment. Anyone out after September 15th outings will start at,
Yeah,
Well, the other thing, as we're going on, it's getting lighter and lighter in the morning.
right.
So, and I don't know, maybe it would help if we could, people don't want July, but maybe some of the ones you gotta push towards July.
yeah. We
To
can
make
do
it-
that.
to make
I
it
try,
balance
man.
out.
I do, because Steve, I'm like you, I don't particularly like outing after outing after outing after
Well,
outing, but
it-
that's what they go for, so man, when
Well,
people
like
wanna
I
get
said,
married
you
in a
know,
certain
you-
month, you don't
you-
try and talk them into another month, you say, hey,
You got all these outings that, back when, don't ask me how many years ago, that we were moaning about, why don't we have any outings? Why can't we get this? Dana, why don't you go research and see if we can get this guy outing? We got all these outings. Now what do you do to them? You can't just throw them under the table and say, hey, your outing's no longer here.
Right.
Okay, why?
Yeah, we gotta come up with a
Well,
solution
those,
better than that.
I-
Well, I mean, like I
listen,
said, if I
understand
could,
too,
if
that
I
those-
could get,
Those outings are regular customers as well. Those
Yeah.
are repeat
Exactly.
faces. So
Exactly.
you piss them off there, that's why I'm saying there are ramifications.
See, I mean, if
So
I could
it's a
get-
delicate water.
the number of people that I need on a weekend, I mean, if I could start, because the cup changing I can do, or and Kevin can do, we don't have a problem, he and I don't have a problem with that. But I would need 2 triplex operators, 2 guys to move cups, and 2 guys to rake bunkers. So if I could get those extra people, then I wouldn't have a problem with the 6 o'clock tea time. Because I put 1 triplex on 10, 1 triplex on 1, and you'll never see me if I start at 5. But, you know,
Maybe.
that's the answer to the question. You can keep those outings if we can get more people. And if Manny's situation or suggestion works, so be it. We'll get more people, but we need, in order to push that through, to keep the condition of the course the
I
way it should
understand
be.
that, that's the better way.
Yeah.
Satisfies everybody.
Yeah,
And I think we should really look strong about getting the
This
extra.
year's a scratch.
yeah.
You know, maybe cut part-time less and hire more full-time.
Can we tell them it's?
That too, and
You know what I mean?
and encourage
You
them to
can
do
get
overtime.
more hours out of it.
Instead of the people this year, but as they go to renew, just try to see.
Well,
Yeah,
you
I'll
can-
bounce it off them, definitely.
Yeah.
Instead
Say,
of-
hey,
instead of 6 to 7,
there's
6
an
to 1
option
instead
next
of
year,
2.
we might be, you guys might be able, the time's gonna change.
Yep.
Period.
That 1 o'clock outing
Then you
becomes
might
2
weed them
o'clock
out.
outing.
Right.
Maybe some of them will say, no, we can't do that, we don't wanna
Right.
do that. Well, then they're gone,
Right.
you know, but at least tell them, listen, next year we're gonna be doing this, are you still on board
Right,
with?
yeah, no, I'll fill them out, definitely. That's easy to
Maybe just
do.
kind of, the side, you might just kind of track what time they're actually like finished playing, right? So we then, you know, whatever, they just like it done at 6:30.
No foundation say
And
we
then
can play
7:30.
150
Kind of
rounds
mental note,
a
what's
year,
it like,
and
yeah.
Yes.
we never
We
see
got
that.
this one this Saturday, he'll be my first one that we bounce it off of.
All
We'll
right,
see what he said. I mean, you know, I don't want to turn away people, I don't want to turn away revenue, make people unhappy. It's just that, like I said, if we had the extra bodies, it wouldn't even have brought the question up.
Oh, that's the route we gotta go.
So we should look at the calendar for the meeting. Weeks.
So, Mr. Garrish called me, asked me about what's going to go on with the bid document specifications, where are we going? They're all written up. We gonna go out to bid, or what are we gonna do?
Next
Should, right, because we've got the plan to want to do this work in the fall. We still need to go ahead and do this, so I think what we need to do is make sure it's advertised and put out there correctly.
Yeah, well, the whole idea behind it was to find out really if you can do it, first of all.
Right, exactly.
What's it gonna cost?
Right, is there an interest in vendors to do the work, and two, what's it going to cost? And
Yeah.
I mean, if we go out to bid, it doesn't mean we have to award it,
No, exactly.
right? So, I mean, I think it's worth doing that, so we can have a price and move forward in the fall if we want to. So I know you and I talked a bit earlier today,
Yeah.
see if I need Mr. Kelly or somebody to get those ads, because you gotta go on the state's website, 2 different ones, and get those posted.
Yeah.
So somebody here must have a login to do that.
Well, I mean, if they,
Hopefully.
I can go, you know, if he, you know, if I can get, I can sit down with him and see what it takes to what he needs to do it, or whether or not the Board of Selectmen have to approve it before it gets done,
Prove what?
to go out to bid for a project. I don't know.
I mean, we already have the funding in place to do capital projects, we've done.
Well, you had funding to do capital projects, plus you already had that article in place.
Right,
So-
and then if we, and I think going out to bid, again, is really some more formal way of getting a quote, which when, if they wanted to vote on anything, it's like,
Right,
hey,
here's
here's
the
this,
number.
Vote on
here's
the
this
quote.
$80,000 mower, because I have the quote, can we do the final approval to buy it, right? It's kind of the same thing, we're going just through the process to advertise it, to get the quotes, and then say, hey, this is, I'm not making this up, you know, $60,000 to do these 4 bunkers, we want to do it. Selectmen, we have your approval to award this contract to whoever is going to do that work. So that's the way I would look at that. It's really just a more formal way of getting quotes that you would get in advance anyway.
Hmm.
So June, we have on Thursdays, 6 is early, 13 and 20, 27.
what, next meeting?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Thursdays, I'm not here on the 6th anyway. June 13, June 20, June 27.
Oh, I don't care.
Everybody's done vacationing?
Steve, you on vacation?
What's that?
I'm here.
I'd say either
6, 13, 20, and 27 are the Thursdays, right?
13.
13 or 20.
13th, fine.
13th?
Yeah,
I won't be at 13th, I'm gone.
He's gone.
4:30.
What about the 20th?
20th and 27th, I'm all set.
All right, how about the 20th instead then?
20th.
Bob can do.
20 is good.
All right, June 20th, that's actually a better day for me anyway.
20th.
June 20th.
At 4:30?
I don't know if I'm here, about 29.
At 4:30?
Yes.
All right.
John, to answer your question, I do have a vacation on the 25th and the 26th of July because my mother turns 90 and we're going down to
nice.
Pennsylvania
I
for
don't know
her
if
birthday.
wow. Good for you, and happy birthday to Mom.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Mom.
All right, so we are going to a quick executive session. So we have executive session to discuss strategy with respect to conduct strategy session for non-union and/or non-union personnel. As an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body. As the chair so declares, we will not return to public session. So going into executive session is a roll call vote. So
Another round of
Manny? Say yes, going to executive session?
Yeah.
John?
Yes.
Well, I vote yes.
Yes.
Okay, we are